Hi guys, today's our topic is pyramidal tracts. In that we will be talking about origin, course and termination of the pyramidal tracts and what are the functions of pyramidal tracts and what are upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron lesions. So pyramidal tract is also called as corticospinal tract. That means it is extending from cortex to spinal cord. So it is carrying the motor information to the spinal cord. And myelination of these fibers will be completed by 2 years after the birth. And as the age progresses, the large fibers of this corticospinal tract disappears, and that is one of the reasons for the shivering in old age. And these corticospinal tracts are nothing but they are the axons of upper motor neurons. We'll talk about what is upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. So coming to the origin, if you see here, it is taking origin from the motor cortex, premotor cortex and somatosensory area. So such a that is a huge area over the cerebral cortex involving the frontal lobe as well as the parietal lobe. So huge area, the fibers radiate from there and this radiation we call that as corona radiata, and all these fibers converge and pass through the internal capsule and it enters the brainstem, midbrain, pons and in medulla. At the lower end of the medulla, they will decussate. They will cross to the opposite side. How much? 80% crosses to the opposite and 20% remains uncrossed. And these crossed fibers we are calling that as lateral corticospinal tract, and this 20% which are uncrossed we are calling that as anterior corticospinal tract, depending upon their location in the spinal cord. And this is also called as pyramidal tract because they form medullary pyramids in medulla. Pyramids are nothing but the projections. They travel anteriormost, so the medulla will be forming a projection like structure called as pyramid. So that's why they are called as pyramidal tracts, as they are moving through the medullary pyramids. Now, this is the internal capsule. This is the anterior limb, this is the genu, and this is the posterior limb, which is located in between the thalamus and the basal ganglia. And if you see here, this is the corticospinal tract, which is traveling in the posterior limb, anteriormost part. And in the genu, corticobulbar fibers will go. Corticobulbar fibers from cortex to brainstem. So, to summarize this tract, origin is from sensory cortex, premotor area, motor area. Wider fibers radiate and we call that as corona radiata. And corona radiata will converge and will go through the anterior part of the posterior limb down, and at the medulla, at the lower part of the medulla, 80% of the fibers cross to the opposite side and 20% remains uncrossed. And this cross will form lateral corticospinal tract, and this uncrossed will form anterior corticospinal tract. So origin is from bed cells and 30% are from motor area. We already mentioned 30% from premotor area and 45% are the from somatosensory area. So why this sensory area is giving 40% fibers? Because there is sensory motor coordination also. So that requires the involvement of somatosensory cortex. And origin is from mainly from bed cells, which are the giant pyramidal cells, part of motor cortex. And coming to the course, as we mentioned, corona radiata, which passes to the posterior limb of the internal capsule. Then in pons, due to the pontine nuclei, the tract divides, and in medulla at the lower end, 80% process we call that as pyramidal decussation, and that forms lateral corticospinal tract and is primarily concerned with skilled activity as it is supplying the distal muscles, and the 20% uncrossed, and it forms anterior corticospinal tract, which are concerned with tone or posture because they are concerned with the proximal muscles, and they terminate in the anterior gray horn of spinal cord, which is called as lower motor neuron. What is the function? The function of corticospinal tract is mainly control of voluntary movements as well as fine skilled movements. And lesion of pyramidal tract or upper motor neuron paralysis is the same, causes loss of voluntary movement, that is paralysis. And what kind of paralysis it is? Spastic paralysis. And all the superficial reflexes are lost and deep reflexes are exaggerated, and Babinski sign is positive. What is this Babinski sign? Babinski sign is nothing but abnormal plantar reflex. So plantar reflex is the one when you stroke the lateral aspect of the heel to the little toe and then to the great toe, the normal response is plantar flexion. So in a normal subject, the normal response is plantar flexion. But in a person of pyramidal tract lesion or upper motor neuron paralysis, or a person in deep sleep, or a person or a child less than 2 years, due to incomplete myelination, they will show a response called as dorsiflexion, and we call that as Babinski sign positive is seen in these conditions. Abnormal here is upper motor neuron paralysis. And pyramidal tract, based on the lesion, what happens if the cortex is involved? Usually cortex is a wider area and half the body paralysis is not possible with damage of such a wider area. Why so? Such a wider area is damaged, it is not susceptible for living. So it usually causes contralateral monoplegia, either upper limb or lower limb. And in internal capsule, this is the common site for the hemiplegia because the fibers are compact bundle here and it produces contralateral hemiplegia, internal capsule. And brainstem hemiplegia plus cranial nerve involvement will be there. If you come to the spinal cord level, if it is cervical, all the 4 limbs will be paralyzed, we call that as quadriplegia. And thoracic segments, the lower limbs are involved, we call that as paraplegia. Coming to the upper motor neuron paralysis versus lower motor neuron paralysis. Before going to the details, we'll just talk about what is an upper motor. So this is the cortex. Cortex is giving a fiber. So here a neuron is there. That is the upper motor neuron giving its axon. And in the spinal cord, it gives rise to another neuron, which is the lower motor neuron. So above the spinal cord, we have upper motor neuron. And from the spinal cord to the muscle, we have lower motor neuron paralysis. Lower motor neuron. Okay. Now, what is the function of upper motor neuron? What is the function of lower motor? We'll see that. Usually, let us think that the upper motor neuron is giving the information to the lower motor neuron. So, the upper motor neuron, let us think that it is inhibitory to lower motor. That means it is suppressing the tone of the lower motor neuron. If upper motor neuron is cut, then the lower motor neuron gets excited. So, tone increases in upper motor neuron paralysis. Okay, what happens with the lower motor? No information to the muscle. So, tone is decreased. So, simply making upper motor neuron is controlling the lower motor neuron. So, upper motor neuron is damaged. Usually, it has the inhibitory influence over the lower motor neuron. Now, the upper motor neuron will give you the inhibitory impulse, and you cut that, it will give you the excitatory impulse. In the sense, the lower motor neuron is now excited more, so that leads increased tone. Okay, to make it clear, I will make it again. Upper motor neuron, lower motor neuron, and this is the muscle. Let us think that a tone of 70 is required, 70 discharges is required for the muscle to maintain its resting tone. Okay, now this is the spinal cord. Spinal cord has the capacity of 100, and this upper motor neuron has the capacity to cut that extra 30 so that it can give only 70. Now we cut this. Now how much spinal cord can give? 100 instead of 70. So the tone is increased. Let us cut this. Now upper motor neuron is giving minus 30, but spinal cord is unable to give the 100 to the muscle. So tone is decreased. So in upper motor neuron lesion, there will be hypertonia, and in lower motor neuron, hypotonia. So as the tone increases, even the voluntary movement is not there, hypotonia is also called as spasticity. Spasticity means increased tone in one group of muscle, either it is a flexor or extensor, and as the tone is less, flexor. And wastage of muscle occurs more in lower motor as the tone is reduced, and wastage of muscle occurs less in upper motor neuron as the tone is more, but the voluntary movement is not there, wastage will be there. And superficial reflexes are lost in both, except a abnormal superficial reflex, that is abnormal plantar reflex, Babinski sign, is seen in upper motor neuron lesion. Deep reflexes are exaggerated. If the tone is increased, the contraction of the muscle when you hit that tendon also increases. So exaggerated. And part of reflex arc is not there because lower motor neuron is cut. So no deep reflexes. Exaggerated tone is presented as clonus in ankle and patella. So clonus is present. Such a thing is absent. And the electrical activity recorded in a muscle will be normal. As there is no efferent, it is absent. Usually it involves groups of muscles like hemiplegia or paraplegia like that. But here individual muscles are affected. And fasciculations in EMG represents injury to the lower motor neuron. Such fasciculations are present in the lower motor neuron lesion, and such are absent in upper motor neuron lesion. Thank you for your patient listening.